Hello friends, welcome to Charlie's Creative Corner. I'm glad you could come by today. It's been a little while. I know it's kind of been a rough week. I just wasn't feeling very great and the weather was just bleh. It starts snowing again. I think it's out of its system though. It's really nice today. So I might go out and take a little walk or something. But not a whole lot going on. Shade gets to come out of his cage in, let's see, about 3 or 4 days. Not even kidding. I'm so happy about that. I feel so bad for the little fella. He's been so good though. Considering that a cat in a cage for about 2.5 months, it feels like it's been forever, but he got his pin out. Everything healed really well, and he's not limping like he was anymore. Right now, well, here you can see him. You can see him digging around in his water bowl with both his paws in there. I don't know. I don't think I can zoom in. But yeah, he's in there digging around in his water bowl. So he's doing okay. I've been letting him out a little more, kind of off and on during the day. I have to be really cautious because he still can't jump and like pull himself up and things like that. We don't want that bone to come apart again. But he's doing really well. So I'm really happy about that. He will be out soon enough. So get our kitty back. Not much more going on. Been kind of, when the weather was nice, not yesterday, but the day before, we went out and hunted down the river water basin and went out and took a nice walk. There wasn't a whole lot going on, not a lot of nature activity. There wasn't any water in it. So maybe one of these days later in the fall or something like that, the water will come back down through there and we'll get some more wildlife and things coming through. I would like to explore it a little more. It is very vast. It's very big. There's a lot going on there. It's not that far away. So I was kind of happy about that because I thought it'd be further away than it was. And it wasn't that far away from where we are. So I was happy about that. We also hit up our other little trail. Oh, this was a while back ago. So this was at least a week ago. And I found a few cool things. I found some bones that were really cool. I know people think I'm a little weird for collecting bones, but I cleaned my bones. That sounds terrible, but I cleaned my bones. I soaked them in peroxide for 24 hours and they look great. This was the one I had previously, and look how it whitened that up. It's just so white, really nice and clean. It looks awesome. I'll find something to do with them eventually. If not, I will just display them. And then I did clean my tooth, my cow tooth I found, and it is white. Look how white that is. Cleaned all the gunk out of the inside of it. So this is nice and sterilized and clean. It looks great. I was kind of upset because some of the enamel here did chip off when I cleaned it. So I was a little upset about that, but it looks great. Compared to what it was, it looks amazing. This did not look this good a while back ago. I think I showed this. It's a cow's tooth. But and then I found a bird bone that was really cool. I believe this is a bird bone. I really liked that. And I cleaned that one up. And I found some vertebrae. Yeah, I was like, what? And they actually connect. So here they are. They're really cool looking. And they actually connect to make the vertebrae. So I don't know what this was too. There was a whole like body laying there. It was crazy. It was just laying there. We found this place and it's this big kind of sand. It's like this sandy island thing. And I now call it the boneyard because there were so many bones. Like a lot of creatures lost it there, which is unfortunate. But it was pretty cool. We found some really cool stuff. And I found like this crazy fish bone there. I think it's a fish bone or it's a skull cap bone or something. And that's pretty much, I do have a lot of bones, but I'm not going to sit here and show you all these bones. And I did find, I think, another thing of petrified wood. I haven't cleaned this yet, and I'm curious. I want to kind of maybe look it up. It might be nothing, but it's a really cool stone. And so I wanted to grab it. I didn't know if it is petrified wood again, then that place is kind of a haven for the petrified wood. But I thought it was really pretty, and so I picked that one up, and that I've been displaying that up on my shelf. That was about all my finds. I did bring home some like little dried pod flower things. They look really cool. I have them up in a vase up there where the cats can't get them. But we did, we saw a blue heron when we were out. That was really cool. And I pulled over. It was kind of in some, I'm guessing, a drainage, irrigation drainage pond or something. And I pulled over to try and get, so my hubby could get a picture, and he doesn't tread very lightly. So he's like walking all fast up there, and there were ducks with it. So the ducks, you know, ducks are skittish, and he scared them all off. So he scared him off, and I was like, oh, darn it. But it is what it is. I still got a glimpse of him, and was happy about that. I got my taxes done. I'm hoping they'll show up someday, because I have it's like a cheap little monocle that I'm going to purchase so I can take it out with me to bird watch, because I don't have a pair of binoculars and I don't want to carry a big pair of binoculars, and I thought a little monocle would be perfect. So I found one for really great price, considering the price of binoculars. Monocles are way more inexpensive, and I don't need anything crazy expensive. I just need something to kind of bring the birds a little closer. So hopefully when my taxes come, I can finally order that, and I can renew my parks license, and we can go out and do some more wildlife observation. But besides that, not a whole lot been going on. My most recent, we're going to do one of my most recent creations, but I'll show you one of the other ones, and I will do a video for this eventually. I'm not going to do it today. I ordered these gourds, okay? I had to order them because you can't get gourds this time of year where I'm at, and gourds take months to dry. So I literally had to order these online, and I'm not going to open this one, but this one's still sealed. This is the larger one. This is the one I'm going to do with you guys. And I decided to bead them and do a bead netting around them. And so this was the outcome. Absolutely beautiful. I just love it. So we're going to do that one of these days. I'm excited about that. It's fun to do. It's really fun. It's kind of a trial and error thing, though. It takes a little while to kind of figure out how many beads you need to wrap it. And that's just like a netting, like a bead netting. It's not too difficult. So that's something to kind of look forward to coming up in, videos coming up. Besides that, not a lot going on, just hanging out, trying to go out and walk more and be out in the wilderness a little bit more, nature and stuff, be where I feel good, where I feel normal. I've been reading a lot of books and things like that, just trying to kind of get to the spring and the nice weather. And but today we're gonna do something really fun. It's really easy. It's not too terrible. I always say that, and I know it's complicated, but for me, it wasn't that difficult. But I thought today we could make these adorable corncob earrings. There they are in all their glorious beauty. And these are not that difficult to make. They go quite quickly. And there's 2 stitches involved with these, and that is the square stitch and the brick stitch. So your main part here of the cob, obviously, is going to be your square stitch. And then underneath, there's just a few rows of brick stitch on there. And so these are really, really simple to make, and they turn out, they'll stop moving. They turn out just beautiful. I love them. And the fun thing about these is they're supposed to be Indian corn. So Indian corn, it, you know, comes in so many beautiful colors and varieties. So you can be as creative as you want with these. You could do the yellow corn, you could do more of a whiter corn, you could do blue, you can do brown and reds. I mean, Indian corn is multicolored and beautiful. The one I'm doing today, I'm going to actually have 5 different colors in it. So I might add one more, I haven't decided. But it's really simple, really fun. And I'm going to turn you around and we will get going on our Indian corn earrings. And they are super fun to make and I think you guys will love doing it. So I will get you turned around. We'll get started. All right, let's get going here. We'll go over supplies that we're going to need and then we'll get started. I just use a little bead pad here. We all know that. Funny story though. I think it was yesterday. I was having a really bad day yesterday. And I was finishing off one of these. And I had a drink sitting here and I spilled it all over my table, all over my book, all over everything. Luckily, it didn't get on my beads. I got lucky about that. But it did get on my bead pad. And it was, of course, a drink with sugar. It was tea. And I had to cut the part that got wet on my bead pad off. And I do have another bead pad, but it's a little lighter color. And I do think that it's a little easier to see with the blue one. But yeah, I saved it a little bit, I guess. So as far as our supplies, we're going to need some beeswax. We're going to need some size 0 Nymo thread. We're going to need a little pair of scissors if you got one, or regular scissors, whichever. You're going to need your, if I can pick them up, my goodness. You're going to need your ear wires, your ear wire findings for your earrings. You're going to need a needle nose pliers or jewelry pliers to attach your ear wires. You're going to need a little scrap of leather. Now you can use leather, you can use raffia. This is going to be this part up here, the little husk part coming out. You can use leather. I like to use leather because it's a little more durable, a little more strong. And I like the way it looks. I think it looks really cute. But you could also use raffia. And you can also actually use real dried corn stalks. Now, the unfortunate thing about those is you got to go harvest them. I mean, you can go out to a cornfield and pick some up. You don't need very much. The only unfortunate thing about that is they might kind of crumble and kind of fall apart on you. The raffia would probably be a better bet if you want to go more of a kind of a naturalistic look. I like to use the leather because I have plenty of it. I don't have any raffia and I'm not going to go out into the cornfields and get some stalks. I probably could, but I'm not gonna. And you don't need very much, just a little tiny bit of that. And so that's your major tools that you're going to need. I'm going to set these over here because we don't need those to last. Get all this out of the way. And then the other thing you're going to need is beads. And I'm using a size 11 seed bead. The check seed beads, and you're going to want whatever colors you want to pick out. I picked orange, and I picked a brown. This is brown. It looks red, but it is brown. And I picked a navy blue. I picked black and also white. And I have been debating on throwing a yellow in there. I haven't decided yet. But you can use any colors. You could do all different colors of blue. Like with this one, I just did little hints here and there of the different colors. You know, I put silver and then there's an alabaster in there. And I just did it here and there. Kind of like there were just a few little kernels that were a little different colored. This one I'm going to do all different colored mixed together to make it look really cool. So I'm going to get my beads ready here. I think I have to start this hank. I haven't started the orange yet. And we've talked about starting hanks, but if you don't know yet, I will show you again. I'll bring you in just a touch. That's a little too much. So with the hanks, when you start them, see this is your hank here. Your hank, it just looks like a bunch of string, beads on a string, and that's pretty much all it is. And you just take a piece from the top, whichever one you want to grab, and just gently pull that string out, and that's going to start your thread. And then you can just remove some of the beads off of there. And you can remove them as you go. So I'm just going to do a couple more. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need. And then when you're done, I like to just tie a little knot in the bottom of this, and then that keeps all the rest of the beads that you haven't used on the hank, which is nice. But for now, I'm just going to set that aside in case I do need more. Now, I think my brown I've begun. Brown has already been started. I'll put some brown down there. Oh, I do have a knot down there. Just turn that off. I'm going to do some brown. And let's see what else we got here. We got some navy blue, which I know I haven't started my navy. It seems really dark in here. Hang on, I'm going to open my blinds up. There we go. Maybe that helped. I keep bumping into you. Sorry, my tripod's real close to my chair, and I just bump right into you. Get some more of these out here. Do a navy blue here. And I know I will probably need more of these colors, but for now, this is just going to have to be enough. And like I said, any colors that you want to do, just get creative. Or if you want it to go with a certain outfit, or if you want to use your favorite color. I mean, if you look up Indian corn, drop that, you will find that a lot of it is just, I mean, like every color of the rainbow. I mean, it's stunning. There's so many beautiful colors in the Indian corn. So there's a lot of different options for colors. You can get as colorful as you want with these. That's what I like about them. There's really no limitations on how much color you can put into them. Add a little bit of white. I think I do have the white started. All right, now we're going to get our thread ready here. And that's not quite enough beads, but we'll put some more beads out in a second. It's a size 0 Nymo thread. And I think with the last one I did a wingspan. So one thumb, other thumb, and spread out your wings. And then I also did another arm span on top of that. I mean, you can reattach the thread if you need more thread. You can add more, but I don't like to do it. I would rather just have it all there and ready to go. And then I'm going to go down it and just kind of give it a gentle tug to get that spiral out of it from being on the bobbin. And that makes it nice and straight. And that way you don't get tangled as easily. And we're also going to give it a coat of beeswax so it doesn't tangle as easy. Beeswax really helps keep this fine thread from getting tangled up. But you know how I do it. You know, when I do a video, I still get a tangle anyway, because that's just how it goes. Oh, you're doing a video? Time to get tangled up. Time to get knotted up. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, you do need a beading needle also. I got to dig one of those out. Or do I still... Actually, I still might have one out. Let me check here. Yep, looks like I do. So, also a beading needle. And we'll get threaded up here. I like to get my scissors out of the way or I get tangled in them. Okay, now it helps a lot with this to have a stop bead. And a stop bead is basically a bead that you tie onto the bottom of your thread to stop your other beads that you string on from coming down and off. And you can pick whatever bead you want. I'm just going to randomly pick here. And you basically, bring it back in. Pardon me, sorry. So basically what you want to do is just string a bead on there, okay, on the bottom, and then you just tie it onto there. And I just cut mine off when I'm done. So just tie that. Oops. I usually do a double or triple, just so it doesn't come off on me. And that's going to be our stop bead. So we got to have a stop bead. And my needle is a size 11 to go with my beads. So you just a standard beading needle. Okay, so we got threaded up. We got our little stop bead here down at the bottom. And you can use a larger stop bead if you want. It's up to you. I'm just using what I got here on my table. Now, what you want to do is take your needle. I'll get some of this off there. Okay, you want to take your needle and string 15 beads, okay? And you can do whatever design you want. 3, 15, and I'm going to double check that I got 15 on here. And I just randomly put them on there. It's going to look really cool if it's just random. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Looks like I got 14. I'm going to double check again. 2. Yep, I only have 14 on there. Oh, poke myself. Get another one on there. There we go. And just bring those down your thread. You want to make sure you got 15 on there, like I did. Double check, because you don't always get it right. And the key to this is you want to leave a tail. So you're going to want to leave a long enough tail on the bottom here to where you can weave that back up through and hide it. So I like to go up a little bit. I like to leave at least, I don't know, 6 inches or so on the bottom here. Okay, now we're going to start our square stitch. Let me see if I can bring you in a little bit, make it a little easier for you to see. So there's our 15 beads, okay? And I like to just kind of hold it down here at the bottom and kind of just put my finger here and just kind of hold it like that, just to kind of keep all my beads in one spot. And this is an easier stitch to do when you start off lying down. So let me move these beads over so I can lay it down as I show you, because it'll be easier to show you and it'll be easier to stitch that way. So get those out of the way. Now you want to pick up your needle and pick up one bead, any color you want. So take one bead, and then I'm going to lay this down here. Now make sure you have a long enough tail coming down here. Make sure you leave quite a bit of space. Now I'm going to I got my one bead on my needle, and I'm going to go under and through the top bead. This top bead, your tail is down here. So your tail's down here, okay? And so you want to go up to this bead here, okay? So go from the bottom and up and through that top bead, okay? And then pull your thread through. Get that pulled through there. And then you'll see the beads kind of set next to each other. We'll kind of set side by side like that. So this was that last bead on the row of 15, and then this is the one you just put on, okay? And now you want to bring your needle back down from the top and through that bead that you strung, okay? So bring your bead back down, or your thread back down. So basically, you're going to have your row of 15 here, and this is the 15th bead, okay? You put a bead on and go up and through from the bottom up through that 15th bead, and then you bring your needle back down from the top to the bottom of the first bead that you strung. Now this is going to be a repeat pattern throughout this whole process. And this first row is the hardest. It's hard to kind of finagle. That's why it's kind of easier if you lay it down onto your pad, because that way it doesn't move around as much and stuff on you. It makes it a little bit easier to maneuver around. Let me see here. We'll do another bead here. So we pick up another bead. I'm going to pick up orange this time. And so there's this bead directly underneath the 14th bead, okay? And you want to bring your needle. I'm going to push these down, get them out of my way. This is that 14th bead. Bring your needle from the bottom up through the 14th and the 15th bead, okay? See if I can show you like this. Oh, it's not cooperating. Hang on. I'm kind of far away from my work. It makes it a little harder. If I can get through that red bead. There we go. So you want to go through your 14th and 15th bead from the bottom up and pull through. Okay, caught here. And pull your thread through just like that. And they'll stack. See how they stacked up like that? And they'll straighten out as you go. Don't worry about that. You can kind of straighten them as you go along too. Okay, so you're going to have something that looks like that. And now you want to take your needle and come back down through that 1 and 2 bead that you just strung on the other side. And you'll know what side you're on. You'll know what your first row was because that stop bead's going to be on that side. So I know that this one here with the red and white bead is my first row because it's connected to my stop bead row. And I leave my stop bead row on there until I'm done with the whole square stitch part of this. Now I bring up this other bead, next bead. I'll bring that up, and then I'm going to pick up a bead, and then I'm going to go through 1 and 2. These just 2 of the beads. Don't go through all 3. You only want to go through the 2. So skip that top 1 and pull through. So basically we're going to be adding 1, go through 2, add 1, go through 2. So there's the 2 that we went through. And now we're going to jump over to the other row, the row that we're adding beads to. And then we're going to go through 2 of the beads. Skip that top 1 and go through 2. Okay? It's kind of, this first row is a little bit funky. It can be a little awkward because of the way things are lined up. Now, when you see how there's this kind of hoop up here at the top. Now, when you pull this thread through, now that we've skipped the top row and we're going to be working our way down, you want to make sure that this thread doesn't get caught up on the top of this row, because you want this thread to come down. I hope I can come in close enough. You want it to come down and lay like that between these beads right here. You want it to lay down like right here. You don't want it coming on the top and getting caught, because that'll set off and kind of make your stitch a little wonky and crooked. I'm going to bring up another bead, just like that. That's from our 15 row. So we're going to bring up another bead, and then I'm going to pick up a bead. We'll go with the brown. And then we're going to go through 2 beads on the 15 row side here. So we're going to go through the one that we brought up and the one we just did. Okay, so bring it through the 2 beads. just like that. And you'll see it kind of, and sometimes you have to finagle them. Sometimes they don't set perfect. Okay, so we're going to have something like that. And then we want to bring our needle down through. See, you'll always know where you're coming down through because your needle will be laying here. And you want that needle, or that thread, I'm sorry, your thread will be laying over here. And you want that thread to come over and in between those beads and come down. And that kind of locks them in place. So, take our needle and we're going to go through this black bead, the last two beads here on this neighboring row. So those two there. Oops, I bumped into you, sorry. So you're going to want to go through those two beads. It's kind of focusing. And then now, whoops, we're going to pull that through like so. But again, like I said, make sure not to get caught up on the top here. Make sure that thread lays snugly down like that. Because sometimes I did get caught on a couple of mine. So make sure you're not getting caught up on that top part of your beads. And we'll add another bead here. And we just keep on going down like this. So we'll bring a bead up from our first 15 row here. So we'll bring a bead up. Bring one of him up. And then we'll go through the two beads. Always go through two. Always go through two. Just like that. And pull through. Like so. And make sure we're all set and straight and everything's looking good. Oops, sorry, kind of off screen there. And then we'll come down through the two on the other side that we just added the bead to. So bring our bead through there, or our needle through the beads there, and pull through. And you want to make sure that thread's laying proper. Just like that. You can see how that's starting to kind of look like little kernels of corn. Okay, we'll bring another bead up here. And we'll go through the two beads. Like that. And sometimes it helps to lay it down, sometimes it helps to hold it. Do whatever's comfortable for you. And then we got another bead added. We'll go through these two. Sorry, I had to kind of get a better look at it. So go through those two and bring it through. And double check your, whoops, what did I do wrong there? Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Okay, I'll try that again. Not the easiest. I gotta flip over. I was on the wrong side. Not the most simple thing to do when you're filming. And see how I always say, oh, it's simple. When you're sitting here alone, it is, but... Okay, so bring it up through two. Okay, Nymo thread, you're in my way. Jeez. And then down through two. Go. So pick up a bead, bring one of your beads up from the line, pick up a bead, go through 2 beads, pull through. Just like that. Make sure you're on the right side, and then go through 2 beads down. Basically an up and down motion. See that? See how that's lined up there and totally wants to get caught on that, which I've had done. Make sure it's not doing that. That's one thing to really look out for with this pattern. Bring a bead up. And if I can pick up a bead, add a bead. Go through 2. Once I get this first row done, it will be a little easier to see. Like I said, that first row is pretty awkward. And then we'll go back down 2 of them. While things try and get tangled. Starting to wonder if I should have added the yellow. I don't know. I haven't decided. Bring your bead up, add a bead, go through the 2 on the first row. Pull it through. I know I'm all thumbs sometimes when I bead, aren't I? It's hard not to be. It really is. Okay, and then go through 2 on the other side and bring it down. We're almost through our 15. It's a little time consuming, the first row, because it just is kind of awkward. Pick up a bead, go through 2. Get caught on our table. If I can get my needle through. Here we go. After you get the first 2 rows done, you kind of have a little bit more to grab onto. I might have to turn my air conditioner on. It's a little warm in here today. more here. And I'm going to turn my air conditioner on because I'm hot. So hot. Let's see, what color should we do? Sometimes you have to finagle that bead when you put it on so it lays straight. Okay, and last one here. This is our last, this would be our number one bead, the very first bead we put on. But it's the last one on that first row. We'll just go through here, just like that. And then back down. Now, the tough part's over. That's the hardest part of this, I think. Don't know what you're doing here, thread. There we go. So that is our first row. So you have your 2 rows here, and then this is your starter row where you have your stopper bead, and then this row is the one that we've been working on this side. I'm gonna put my air conditioner on. I'll be right back. I need some air. Okay, so we have our first 2 rows. Now I find it better to work from top to bottom with this. I just think it'd be way too difficult to go from bottom to top. So when I get to when my string's down here on the bottom, I just flip it over, and then my thread is going to be coming from the top. I just find it way easier to work it this way, and I think it'll be easier for you to do it that way also. So when you get to the bottom, like this, okay, just flip it over so your thread's coming out of that bead coming from the top instead of the bottom. Now, I hope we got this down. Basically, you pick up a bead and then go through 2 beads, come back down through 2. Pick up a bead, go through the 2 beads on the row next to it, come back down to 2 beads on the row you're adding to, okay? And you do 1 bead at a time. So we're at the top of this 3rd row now. So we kind of have something to hold on to. Makes it a little bit easier this way. So you want to pick up a bead, and basically you're going to want to go from the bottom up through that bead, that top bead on the row next to you. And as you pull it, you'll see it kind of fall into place. You'll see it kind of straighten out. And if it doesn't, you can give it a little, ease it in there a little bit, kind of help it along. So it'll look like that, okay? Now we have our thread coming out of this row behind us here. So we want to bring our thread through. And if the bead moves a little, that's okay. It'll ease its way into the place where it needs to be. See, mine went kind of way over there, but as you pull, it'll pull itself into place. So there's our first bead. I'm going to add another bead here. And now we're going to go through, over on this row here, we're going to go through 2 of the beads. So we're going to go through those 2 top beads, like that. and pull through. The first row you can't go through 2 beads, obviously, because there's only 1 bead there to go through. So you have to go through 1 on that top one. And then after that, you can go through 2. So you got your 2 on there. And so we're going to go down and through these 2 here. Okay, the only 2 beads there. And then pull through. And try not to get caught on everything. My goodness, Charlie. Seriously. What is it? It's my tail. Hang on, my tail's a little tangled. I need to pull it up a little. Okay. So, I got 2 on there. I am not going to lie, I have been kind of clumsy the last few days. So pardon me if I am clumsy, I am sorry. Pick up a bead, go into the bead next to it, and the bead above it. So the 2 beads. Pick up a bead, go through 2, pull it through, just like that. And then bring it down through 2. And sometimes, just to make sure I'm not going to get caught in things, I like to kind of put my tip of my index finger on top of these, on top of the row. And that way, that thread isn't going to get caught up on that top row. Like I said, make sure your thread's not getting caught up in there, because we're going to be using that, these ends here. See those little bridges? We're going to be using that to do our brick stitch when we're done. Pick up a bead, go through 2, pull it through, get your tail tangled like me, pull it through, and then go through the last 2 beads you just put on, just like that. And pull. And see, there it is right there. I don't know if you can see that. See how that thread went on top? Right there. You got to keep an eye out for that. Make sure that doesn't happen. It will bunch it up and make everything look really bleh. It just won't look pretty. Pick up a bead, go through 2, pull it up. And you always want to go into the first, when you put a bead on, you always want to go into the bead that's where you want that to lay. So for example, we'll bring this back down here. I'll put my finger up here to keep that thread out in line. So for example, I'm going to pick up a bead, okay, and this bead I want lined up with these 2 beads right here. So you're going to want to go into that bead right next to where you want that bead to lay. You don't want to go down into that bead or the bead under it, because it's not going to lay right flush next to the others. So you want to make sure you have that lined up with the row that you're adding to. If I can get through this bead, heaven's sakes, there we go. Pull through. And bring it down. I'm going to do this row and start the next row with you, and then I'll let you finish it. And we have to do 9 of these. You could make smaller ones and do, I don't know, you could do 7. But I like to do 9. I like the, not big, they're not big earrings. So I think 7 would be a little small to get the leather into also. Oh, air conditioner feels so good. Last year, I didn't have an air conditioner in my room, and I was roasting. And so I am so glad I bought this air conditioner. It has really improved my room. Oh, come on. Sometimes it can be tricky to get into those beads. There we go. See that pretty design coming through. It's so pretty. Kind of wish I would have added yellow though. That's all right. It's not like I can't make another pair. I want to do one that's all blue and purples. I think it'd be so pretty. Blue, black, purple. Oh my goodness. I probably could have thrown in a red just to add a little more subtle difference with the brown. That's what I love about these. I love Indian corn the way it is. I think it's so beautiful. And then you add like all the different colors. You think about all the different colors. What happened there? Hang on, I don't know if I split my thread and went through or what. Something weird happened. Yep, I think I went, there we go. Something happened. I went through, I split the thread. Let me thread here. It's so nice outside. I just went out and birds are singing and there's actually some bugs around, and my hubby mowed the other day. He said the snakes were out. He said we have some garter snakes that live around here, and I don't mind them. I like them. They're cute. And he said they were out when he was out mowing. So I like to have them around. They keep bugs away, keep crickets and stuff out, and beetles and things like that. I don't know. The rain, I know we're going to have to mow again. It's making our grass grow so fast. It seems like we just mowed like last week and it already needs it again. It's insane. All right, we're almost to our other side here. Just get creative. Add a bead, go through two, come up, and jump over and go down through two. Add a bead, go through two. Come up with your thread, jump over, and bring it down through two. And that's all this is for now. It's not, this is really such a simple thing to do, and they're so fun to make. Oh my goodness, these are so fun. And they look so adorable. You know, you don't have to make earrings. You could make a pendant. You could just make one unicorn and add it to a pendant if you wanted. You could do a lapel pen, and you could do like imagine these aren't on here, but you could take two of them like this or something and connect them. If I can, it's hard to do with those in the way. Like that, and connect it and make a little lapel pen. You could add 3 of them and make a lapel pen. You could do just one and have a little pendant to go with your earrings. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities that you can do with these. There's a lot of possibilities. Where was I here? There we go. That down. Just like I said, make sure your thread doesn't get caught up at the top, because that can be a bad deal. That happened with the first one I did, and I had to go back and fix it. It was awful. And our last bead here. And then with the last one, it's simple, easy peasy, just like you do with the rest. Just go up the 2 beads like that and pull it through. And it'll line up, and then just like that. Getting caught on stuff. Told my hubby I needed a bigger workspace. I need like a fold-out table or something to work on. I get caught up on all that stuff on my desk all the time. So we're at the bottom there, and see, this is our stop bead. He's coming out of the top now because we flipped it. So we want to flip it again because we're at the bottom. See, our thread's here at the bottom. So I'm going to flip my work over just like that, and we'll start adding beads again. So put on a bead. Now this first one's kind of different because there's only 1 bead, but you just go through the 1 bead for the first one. So go up and through that 1 bead, pull it through. We'll go through a couple rows, and then I'm going to let you continue on your own. And then bring it back down the bead you put on, just like that. There we go. And see, it'll kind of settle himself into place. And then we'll add another bead. Go through 2 of the beads, so you'll be coming out the top again. Okay. And pull it through, just like so. And then back down from the top bead through those 2 beads. Okay. 1 more row, and then I'm going to let you work on your own. So we'll go 1 more bead here. And then we go through 2 beads, add a bead, go through the 2. So we'll skip that top one and pull it through like that. And then we'll go through 2, just like that. Now I'm going to work on mine. And so when you work on yours, I count these as rows, obviously 1, 2, 3. So right now I have 3 rows, and I'm starting on my 4th row, okay? So we're going to need, sorry, thought I was going to sneeze. Okay, so we're going to need 9 of these, okay? So you're going to want, we have 3, so you're going to have 6 more on there because we need 9 of these rows. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it doesn't take very long once you get the hang of it. So I'm going to let you continue to work on those, and then I will show you where we go from there, okay? I will be right back. Okay, so I have my rows finished here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 rows across here. This is similar to what you might get. Now our next step is we're going to need to cut our leather to create our little husks that come out here. So we need to cut our leather here, and you don't need very much of it. I like to take mine and I kind of like to measure and kind of eyeball how much height I want to have to it. I'm going to cut a little bit off here like that, and I think that should be plenty high there. So as far as it goes, you can do whatever kind of strips you want. You just want to cut some strips. You can do skinnier ones or bigger ones, however you want to do it. Okay, so I just cut like 4 little strips. I'm going to see, first of all, if I'm going to stick them all together, and I'm going to see if those will fit when I wrap this around. And that's cutting it really close, but I think that'll work. Now, I want to see how tall I really got her going here. That's pretty tall, but I'm going to trim them. So I'm going to make them look a little more like corn husks and add points to the tops here. And like I said, these don't need to be perfect. Just make them look like corn husks. Just kind of add a little, you don't want them square at the top because corn husks don't look square. So we got to have a little bit of a point there for them. This one's a little bit bigger. And that kind of adds a little more dimension to them, makes them look a little bit better. I'm going to kind of, see how they're all even. I want maybe one a little shorter, one a little longer, things like that. So that's just kind of about how you make them look and how you want them to look. Here we go. Now what I like to do, throw all these little pieces away here. I'm going to take a tiny little piece of my Nymo thread here, just a small one. And I'm going to tie these together just so that they kind of stay into place. Now you can put a little glue on there if you want. I don't want to do that. I'm going to tie them together into a little bundle. And that way they kind of stay together for me when I'm stitching them into the bead work. If I can get adjust them here. Just kind of make a little bundle with them. And nobody's going to see this, so it doesn't have to be perfect or anything. Maybe. Okay. There, geez Louise. Okay. I'll do one more just to keep them together. And I'm going to trim those tails off. Okay, so we have our husks here all put together. And then we have our Indian corn. And that's the bottom here where our bead is still. And I'm going to stick that in there. And just kind of stick it in place as best I can for now. And I don't glue it because then I find I can kind of adjust it. I can pull it up or push it down a little if I need to. Now we're going to go about the same method. We're going to go the same method as we did putting the square stitch together, but we're not going to add beads. So we're going to go up through one. See, our thread's coming out here. So we're going to go up through this one here. Just like that. And we're going to go down to just like that. And then we're going to go up to and see, that'll kind of seal it shut. And we're going to go down 3. And then you got to make sure you're lined up. Go up 2. I go up 2 and down 3. That's how I do mine. Back down. And we're just basically zipping this shut. If I can get through that red one there. There we go. Whoops. You just want to zip it shut is all we're doing here is just sealing this up. And I used 4, so it's kind of tight. You want to make sure that that covers it. So if it's too thick, you might have to take a piece of leather out. Whoops, what'd I do? I went in the wrong hole. I don't think anybody will notice. I'm just going to redo this here. It can be kind of tricky to get into those beads when they're stacked so neatly to next to each other like that. Where is my needle? Hang on a second, friend. Find out where I am here. There, geez Louise. I think I bent the heck out of my needle too. Oh well. It happens. Almost to the bottom here. And the last beads I go through because I want to seal these up, and then I go through the other one. Make sure that's tight. And there we go. Whoops, I'm getting my tangled up here. There we go. Now I'm going to change my needle because I bent it really bad doing that. 1 second. Okay, this one's still bent, but not quite as bad. So the next one, or the next step we're going to take is we're going to take the tail here with our stop bead, and we're going to snip that bead off. Take that off of there. And then we're going to thread our needle onto that end like that. And we're going to hide this thread. So I like to just, this neighboring one behind it, not the one where my thread's coming out of over here, but the one behind it, I'm going to put it through a few beads, 4 or 5 of them there, just like that. And then I'm going to do a couple knots. And when I do my knots, I go into, it's kind of focusing. You'll see these little threads going up and down here. And my thread's right here. And so I'm going to go onto the thread right next to that, kind of in between it, like that. And that's where I'm going to put my knot. And I'm going to do 1 loop knot, and then I think I might do a surgeon's knot. I'm going to do through once, and then through the loop again, and then we'll tighten that. And then I'm going to bring my needle back into one of this bead right next to it. And I'm going to go through a couple. Can be kind of, get a little tricky after you get the leather in there. Well, I didn't want to go all the way to the top, but I'm going to go to the top. If you can get through any of the beads in between there, that'd be a little better, I think. But looks like I'm going to the top. And then I'm just going to trim that like that. And there we got rid of our tail. So now we need to put a little, kind of a little rounded tip on the base of our corn. Otherwise, it kind of looks a little weird. It looks a little square. So we need to make it look a little more like the real thing and add a little rounded tip to the bottom. And this is where our brick stitch is going to come into play. Now, you see we're coming out of this bead here. Oh, right here. Okay. And then we need to be going, we're going to be working on these bridges here. Kind of see them. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there. So that's where we're going to be putting our brick stitch. Now, you pick up 2 beads, color of your choice, and then you see this, our thread's coming out here. So you want to skip this first bridge and go to this second bridge because we're doing a decreasing brick stitch. And then you put your needle underneath that bridge like that and pull through, and then bring your needle up through your second bead from the bottom of the bead and up and through. Just like that. Okay? Kind of flatten them down a little bit. And then we're going to add beads around the base of this, the same form. So we're going to go under the bridge next to that bead, next to that last bead we went through. So we're going to go under the bridge, bring the needle through, and then come up and underneath the bead, just like that. And we're going to keep doing this a few times. Go under the bridge, bring your needle through, and come up and under through that bead. And we'll just work our way around all these bridges here. This will be creating our first, we're only going to do about 2 or 3 rows of brick stitch to seal up. And the next one's going to be a little bit different, but this is the best way I have found to seal up the bottom and create that curve look on the bottom. Boy, the kids outside are going crazy. Pitching a fit. Okay, so you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. 8 beads down there at the bottom, like that. Now this is our first bead here. You see that guy there? I'm going to come down and through the top of him and create another bridge and flatten everything down nice and secure. And then I'm going to come back up through the orange bead next to it. That was our first and second beads there. And that just kind of flattens everything out nice and makes it really clean and uniform. Okay. Now this next one's a little different because we're going to add a little fewer beads. But we are going to pick up 2 beads. We'll do a blue and an orange one here. And we're going to, our thread's coming out of this bead here. And we're going to skip that first bridge. And then we're going to go under the second one. And pull it through. And then bring our needle through the second bead. Just like so. And then we're going to add, let's see. Oh, let's see. I think you're going to do, I think we'll try to do 4 beads. So we put the 2 beads on there. Okay, the blue and the orange bead here. Now the thread's coming out of that orange bead, and we're going to go down into this white bead right here next to it. Right next to it. Okay, it's one from the lower. It's from the lower row. And then we're going to go up the bead next to the white one we went through. Okay, and now we're going to add another bead. And we're just kind of trying to decrease this and make a point. And then we're going to go through the bridge right next to that. This is just how I do it. If you have a better method, then feel free to do it. And then I'm going to go, oops. And then I'm going to go up through that one. Okay. And then I'm going to come back down through, let's see, we're going to try and seal this up. We'll add one more bead here. We'll add another bead. Go through that one next to it. Yeah, I think that's where I want it. So we'll go through that one next to it. Basically, you're just kind of decreasing brick stitch. You just kind of want to bring it all to a point and make it look round. See how that's kind of making it look rounder at the bottom? Making it look a little bit more like corn. Now, our thread's coming out of that last one we just strung. And then I'm going to come, this was our first bead here, this blue one was our first bead. And I'm going to come down through that guy. Just like so. And that'll kind of tighten everything up a little bit. And then there's this orange guy here. We're going to come up through him. Like that. Okay, and see we almost got it sealed up. There's just a little bit left. And so we're going to add a bead. And then I'm going to slip it underneath the neighboring bridge. Just like so. And then I'm going to come back down through that same bead like that. It kind of makes it look a little more uniform, and that should be good for sealing it up. So I'm going to go to the bead across. I went back up through the bead I put on, and I'm going to go through the bead across from him. And that seals up that bottom for us. See, and that made it look nice and circle and uniform. Now we need to add our hoop for our earring wire. So what we want to do is we want to get over to where we want to have our, I think I want my earring wire back here. So I want to kind of move my needle across. I'm going to kind of move it over, and then I want to come up this row. So I need to just move him over a couple here. So move it over 1 and 2. And then I'm going to go all the way up this row of beads till I get to the tip top. And that's basically, I'm just basing that on where my husks are laying and how I want it. So I'm going to bring my needle up through here. Try not to poke through your leather. And whoops. And pull it up through like so. So there we have that. There. Oh, they're so pretty. So adorable. And then you want to string 6 to 8 beads here. I'm going to do 8 because I like it a little bit longer of a cord. So string 8 beads, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to skip, our thread's coming out, my thread's coming out of that white bead, this white bead right here, okay? And so I want it, all my beads are on, they're all strung. And so I'm going to skip 1, 2, and go into 3. So skip 2 beads, go into your third one, and bring your needle through. I go through about, 4 or 5 beads. Bring your needle through and bring that down. And that creates a little handle to hook your little bead or your earring wire to. And then I'm going to add knots like I did before on these threads going horizontally. So I'm going to do a knot here and make sure you're only getting the one thread. Do a surgeon's knot, and then I'm going to go back through if I can get through. If not, that should be good, but we're going to try. It can be kind of rough to get through it sometimes. I don't think that's going to let me. I'm going to try over here. Yep. And then I'm going to go through a few more. And I'm going to pull it tight. And that knot will hide. It'll go hide in the side of one of those beads. And then I snip that thread off of there, just like that. Okay. And there's our little piece of corn. Now, you can adjust these if you want. You can pull them up. I like to kind of just give them a little press at the top like that. It kind of fans everything out pretty. And then I'm going to take my earring wire and my pliers, my earring pliers, and then I'm going to twist this open like that. You make sure it's going the right direction. And hook that onto the beads back here. Try and get it centered on there like that. And then we will seal that back up. And I kind of give it a little pinch. Make sure it sets kind of flush. And that is how you make the Indian corn earrings. How adorable is that? They're so pretty. I love them. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope you're able to make your own little Indian corn earrings. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave one in down below. And I hope you guys were able to make your own earrings. Please let me know what you think of them. Thanks for watching today. I hope you guys have a great day. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.